karting into slicks and wings, as we like to call it, and there they are. These are the older cars. We now have a new car, new Ligier car, which you'll see in action later. But I'm delighted to be joined by Lincoln Day as we take a very close look at who's got what in terms of shod on their car, as we look at Kekai Huanio from Kiwi Motorsport. Lincoln, welcome. What are you noticing? Who's on wets, who's on dries? What would you do?
Right now, I'd be on wets for sure. It's still pretty damp out there from what I've seen and what I've heard from all the drivers, and it seems like it's pretty tricky conditions right now.
I would have actually given this race a miss and would have joined those kids colouring in. Is what I would have done. That would have been my decision. So, Lincoln, tell us about yourself, where you're from, and what part you play in this, because obviously you'll be racing in action later today.
Yeah, of course. I'm from out in Wyoming, Jackson Hole.
Oh, yeah.
Lived there for about 5 years now, and joined racing about a year ago with the hope to make it to Le Mans or IndyCar one day. And this weekend, I'm still learning the car, still very new, trying to get as much seat time as possible and set as fast laps but be as consistent as possible. Well,
let me give you a personal invite to the Circuit of the Americas, where we'll be doing WEC in September, and you can come and see all the Le Mans cars.
Oh, well, thank you.
There you go.
Dream.
That would be fun. Wow, there you go. Put it in your calendar. It's September 1st, and the whole of the world of world endurance is coming. So, yeah, it's going to be a big weekend. We've had them there before, but they haven't been back for a while. Who do you know in this field?
I'm pretty close friends with Bacon Zelenka and Drew Shuz.
Yep.
Out in Chicago, I used to live there. Met Bacon at a track down there, hit it off immediately, and Drew works down there. Got to know him pretty well at the kart track.
Let me ask you this. We talk about wet weather and how the car is different, and the obvious thing is tyres, whether you go on a wet or a slick, and like you say, most of them will be on wets, I think, at the moment. But what do you do to the adjustment in terms of, you've gone out into dry qualifying, how do you set up the car differently?
I personally like to make it a little bit softer.
Okay.
I know some drivers like to make it a bit more stiff depending on their driving
styles. So it's
styles.
a personal thing, really, rather than...
Yeah, to a point, yeah.
And do you care? Do you like the red?
I hate it.
Yes, I think it would be tough.
I've only had 2 wet experiences so far. First one was pure hail. Second one was go-kart out in Chicago on slicks.
Now, if I think of Jackson Hole, I think of skiing, and good skiing.
Yeah.
Steep skiing.
Oh, beautiful.
Backward skiing.
Yeah.
Why motorsport? I mean, I can't believe that there's that many racing circuits around in Wyoming.
The closest one is Highlands, Colorado.
Yes, I know that circuit.
That's a really fun one. But I had a cousin who raced a few years back in a Porsche Series and a Porsche GT4. I loved going to the races with him, getting to know him better. And he put me in a little camp, summer camp, that I really enjoyed. And I was like, I might want to make this my career plan. I love to do something like this. My dad's always taught me, find something you'd love to do, and do it for free. And make that your life.
That's a great line. Well, we're listening to Lincoln Day. We're about to go racing. Kekai Huanio of the Crosslink Kiwi team getting ready. Alongside him, Teddy Masella, who got the win yesterday. And then Bacon Zelenka, who you just mentioned, from Illinois. He got a podium yesterday, and he lines up in 3rd position. Maite Cáceres, the only female in this race, from Uruguay. And then Drew Such, as you mentioned, Hayden Bowlesby in this one, Jake Pollock, Brad Margeman, and the Felber twin brothers in this one as well. Standing start this time. Do you prefer a rolling or a standing start?
I prefer standing. I haven't done one yet, but sim racing, I love standing starts.
Okay.
They're just a lot more competitive, and you have to learn a little bit more.
Yeah, I always think that I expect the answer, because most of you guys come from karting, to be a rolling start, because that's how karting is done.
Yeah, I never did karting. So
well, there you go.
Yeah, that's why.
There you go. Right, we're about to get underway. It's the Ligier JS F4 Series, the junior F4 Series. Out go the lights, away we go. Now watch the 29. That's your pole man. Comes across the circuit, has the advantage. Zelenka tries to make a move on the inside, but a good clean start as they all get through the first corner down towards the Mission Foods keyhole for the first time. But it is Huanio who leads. 25-minute race. And already up the inside comes Teddy Masella. And that's a good move at the keyhole. He played that beautifully. And Maite Cáceres up to third. Good start by her. There she is in the number 6. Conditions, I don't know, they don't look too bad, but you don't want to be in that rooster tail, do you?
No. And since the new pave, there's also quite a bit of rubber down now.
Yep.
And,
whoa, and the leader goes wide. Does he gather it? That was a moment. He's had to slow down, and he's going to lose pace. He's got the lead still for now. But back comes the 29 of Juanio. What a great start to this one. 4 wide, almost, at turn 4. 2 wide now as they head through 6. In second place is Cáceres. Takes second place. What a great start by the one female competitor we've got. She's got some good experience. She's come down from the Formula One Academy, having had some experience there. Started racing in F4 and now has taken this chance to be in this JS F4 Series just to learn a little bit more. She said she's more comfortable in this car, and it's proving to be a good move too, because she's now making her way on what could be one of her best races so far in the series.
Yeah, it's looking like she's really liking that car out there.
Yeah, no kidding. She looks more comfortable than anybody. Zelenka holding on third. Yeah, Bacon is a good guy. Had a good chat with him. He came in the commentary yesterday. Whoa, a big moment there, off onto the grass, and somebody goes even wider. Ooh, they are taking big risks there, but that is just literally outplaying it into turn 1. But luckily, both got away with it. So how do you know Zelenka? Just because you were near him?
Yeah, in Chicago, we go to the same track out there, and I have a car out there, and I let him drive it a few times, and he was immediately faster than me. It's been so much fun to follow his career and help him out where I can.
Keiko Juanio pays the compliment back and gets back into second, or does he? Slides through, and that was a big moment, but he's made it stick. So they are trying everything, and he goes a little wide, leaves the door open there, but the next is a right-hander, so he's being wise too. Cáceres then dropping down to third, and the leader, Masala, on his way. Teddy did a great job yesterday and won the race, and so looking for yet another victory here. And Zelenka still holding a strong third at the moment as the leaders start to pull away. And this is important for Cáceres that she tries to get on level terms with Teddy. Still 21 minutes in this race, but Teddy Masala will drive off into the distance for Scudurari Buell if he's given the chance. Conditions seem to be at their best here in the front part of the circuit, and then on the back straight where the woods are, it hasn't dried up yet, so they've got the shade of the woods and perhaps just a little bit more wet weather down. We'll see as they come through here. You see it's all dry through turn 1 and turn 2. Here's the keyhole. That's pretty dry too. And then when we get down and exit the keyhole, side by side. Good racing. Brad Margin. Chat with him yesterday, the youngster from Australia. Good kid. Good close racing, and that's what it's all about, learning at close quarters. Now we see that long back straight, and still a little bit wet, but it starts to dry as they get back into turn 4 here. Oh, around the outside goes the 83. That's Bowlesby, probably the most experienced driver out here. He's been around these single-seaters for a while, also races in FR as well. Can't say he doesn't get enough track time, that's for sure.
It's looking like Zelenka's going to have to defend pretty hard against this guy.
Yeah, any minute he's going to be under pressure, isn't he?
Yeah. In these cars, the slipstream is so massive that you get behind someone half a second and you're on them at the end of a straight.
This, of course, the original car without the halo, the new Ligier engine and Ligier chassis car, as we take a look at the entire Crosslink Kiwi team, watching on pensively, as they might. There's the gap between Teddy Masala and Maite Cáceres, and it's, about 1.4 seconds. But now Zelenka has reeled in the Uruguayan, and it's going to be nip and tuck now. Got an interesting story, does Maite Cáceres, and we heard from her yesterday that started out, her father was a rally driver. Really, her parents didn't want her to race. They wanted her to get her education, but she just kept on plugging away at it and wanted to do it. And finally, when she got to 17 and 18, they were like, okay, well, you're growing up. It's up to you now what you want to do. And they supported her. And so she started late, certainly later than most of the field here, but she's put it to good use so far and making her way here in the USA. Has been around the world, though. Has raced in many different locations. Sponsored by the Uruguayan Tourist Board. And the gap between Musella and Cáceres has increased. It was 1.4, but I think in this lap, the rest of the field has caught up to Maite, and she's dropped off a little bit. Now the 83 of Hayden Bowlesby, putting some pressure on Zelenka. Where would you make a move if you were in this race and you were Bowlesby right now? Because you've got pressure behind you, so you want to make it clean, because if you don't, the 29 of Juanio, who had, of course, started on the front row, is trying to recover. So you've got to kind of keep one eye on one way and one eye on the other way, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If it were me, I'd try to make a move into turn 4, heavy braking zones, turn 2, turn 11 possibly. It'd be pretty risky, but I'd probably go for it.
Oh, talking to risky.
Yeah.
Oh, very wide. He's been lucky. Lucky boy. That's the 28 of Drew Such. You know him?
Yeah, I know him pretty well now.
Now you can see he's got the grass inside the on the wings and just in the in-plates there. I don't think it's going to cause any harm, but it was a bit of a heavy grass track and heavy, wet grass indeed.
Yeah, I'm very impressed he managed to keep in a straight line on the grass there.
Yeah, I mean, in this kind of conditions, with the amount of rain that's been down, you don't see it visually when you're watching the TV, but I can tell you that we've had probably about half an inch, maybe more, of rain in the last hour or so. So very, very well done to get out of there. This is a good race. Here's your top 5. You can see them in just one shot, which is always good in motor racing, and it looks as though the battle for 4th and 5th is really hotting up. Good defensive driving, though, by Bowlesby. It's Juanio who wants past him, and he's probably frustrated. I don't know why he's that far back, because didn't seem to make anything, an outrageous mistake or anything. He just got caught up in some fights and then just dropped back. Another interesting story, 11th and 12th, Felber, twin brothers.
I raced against them in a racing school a while back when I was getting my license, and they were pretty quick in those cars, and it's showing here.
Yeah, I would have thought it'd be quite interesting racing with your brother.
Yeah.
Especially a twin brother.
Yeah, there's got to be some beef going on there somewhere that we don't know about.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure the competition is ridiculous. But there's probably a lot of respect, too. You know, twins are very close, generally speaking. Jacob Lauter in the 72 coming through for the IGY6 Motorsports, say 22 Honda. These are all Honda-powered cars. Honda, a big part of the championship, and of course, this is the home of Honda in the USA. Certainly this track the nearest to their headquarters. Big IndyCar race here. Scott Dixon's been pretty much man of the moment here over the years when it comes to IndyCar racing. And it seems that every driver that comes here really enjoys racing. Why, do you like this track?
I love it so far. I have a love-hate relationship, but mostly I love it. It's a lot of technical corners, which is where I tend to do a lot better. I struggle in the high speed, so turn 1, turn 4, that kind of a thing, I tend to be slower than everyone else.
Yeah, somebody made a comment the other day, which is, I've never heard anybody say that they've mastered Mid-Ohio. It's just one of those tracks that even when you think you've got it right, it'll catch you out somehow, or things will change.
Exactly, and there's always that extra 10th you can get out of the lap, and then
right.
There's another one.
Oh, look at this, wheel to wheel. Tell you what, they almost touched there, but that's great trust there by Juanio on the inside, and he's finally got through. But these two have been going at it for the last few laps. Bowlesby coming back at him. Now jinks to the race line and heads through the Mission Foods keyhole and accepts the fact that the overtake has been done, and Juanio now will try and going pursuit of Zelenka in third position. How's your season been? What are your points? What have you scored?
So far, season's been good. In the races around America, all three of them I finished 5th. So far, NOLA also, that was a very interesting one. She had some issues with the car, and we figured those out pretty quick. Season's been a lot of fun, especially with Barrett. I raced against him last year. He's been a lot of fun to race against, and he's definitely grown as a driver. He's gotten a lot faster, and it's a lot of fun to battle against him.
We're talking about a lot of fun. How about this? Masella, having had a really strong lead, is losing that lead. The gap now down to 0.6, and second and third have caught right up. Maite, Cáceres and Zelenka right there with him, and as you know, Juanio now having passed Bowlesby's coming fast too. So I don't know if Teddy's tyres are going off, or he's just struggling a little bit because they've caught right up to him, and here comes Cáceres for the overtake at turn 1. And keep your foot in, side by side almost. For now, Masella holds the lead. Cáceres, though, looks to the inside, then to the outside. He looks at his mirrors, no one there because she's side by side with him. And Zelenka just waiting to pick up the pieces. Goes for the switchback, but it's covered. Out of the keyhole they come, down the back straight. Now they'll sort themselves out. And the obvious place for an overtake Lincoln is coming up, isn't it? Around the outside, she's looking for it. And if she can get this done before the braking, which is not going to happen, she was going to be in a good position. But this is close, really good stuff. And now we've got a real battle because now Juanio is caught up. And of course he started from pole. So cracking race here. Teddy Masella, winner yesterday, but now under massive pressure. And here comes Juanio on Zelenka. Oh, up the inside, he had to take 2 over the rumble strips, but he's made it stick, and up to 30 goes. So 2 places made in the last lap, and now he'll go in pursuit of the leaders.
That was a beautiful overtake.
Wasn't it?
There.
Just kept his foot in and didn't do anything, you know, didn't get too excited or panicked by the fact that he was on a line that he's not used to being on. So another lap completed, 11 minutes to go. Conditions getting better and better, but Masella is under pressure. Just looking at the times here, fastest lap so far, 1:36.9 for the leader, Masella, but in fact, those behind him are actually quicker, 1:36.6 and a 1:36.1. So Juanio is the quickest man out there at the moment. And this is good patient racing. It's hard when you're starting out to learn patience. We're all excited. It's an exciting sport. The adrenaline's flowing. And the one thing you've got to really kind of measure is just how calm you need to stay, even though everything is going at 100 miles an hour around you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I remember my first race, I was so excited. I was like, oh, I'm the best guy here.
Yeah.
And I got humbled as soon as I stepped in the car.
Yeah.
It was like nothing else.
I know. I've done a little bit of karting in my time, and I've done some race schools, and I do not think that I have what it takes to be good at this sport, just simply because of that exact fact. The adrenaline gets going, and your mind just loses it, doesn't it? I mean, you catch yourself going, calm down, think. What were we learning, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, so far, Teddy Masella holding on. Comes out of the carousel to complete another lap. And he still maintains the lead. Looks a little bit calmer than the lap before. Cáceres not challenging this time. But now, Juanio, having passed Zelenka, is very much there and part of this battle.
Yeah, this will be a good opportunity for Zelenka. Everybody fighting will slow him down a little bit, and hopefully he'll be able to pick up the scraps.
Whoa, and talking of which, that's exactly what's happened. And Juanio goes to the curb yet again. That's the second time he's done it, and it's the second time he's made it work. Maite Cáceres drops to third, but she'll have another chance down this back straight. And obviously all the engines are Honda Civics. And they are all identical, hence the reason nobody's got any power advantage, which is why you see them side by side so often, with nobody getting an advantage. So it's all about momentum and timing. And as you were quite rightly pointed out, Lincoln Day alongside me, Zelenka's caught right up. Now we got a four-way battle with 9 minutes to go, just as we wanted it. Here they come. Now this is looking a little further down. This is the number 5 of Dimitri Nolan, and he's in a battle with the number 1 of Cash Felber. Love the colors, the two blues on that number 1, and of course his teammate behind him and his twin brother, both of them racing for FLBR Motorsports Fly Alliance. Back to the leaders. And now surely something's got to give as Iwanio, having got second place, is pushing. You can see how he's fighting the wheel there for a second. Here comes Zelenka. Now, if she wasn't aware of how close he was, she will be now. Cáceres trying to defend into the keyhole. Zelenka takes it high and wide. He'll now slot into the regular line. And it's getting tasty at the front. Marcella's led all the way, but now the draft is with Iwanio. And Kekai Iwanio comes alongside the leader. And now it's a drag race down to turn 4. It's a right-hander. So the 25, the all-red, should have the advantage. He slides his way through, but now it's the inside advantage to the 29. Side by side again through 5. Next it's the right-hander. Who's going to make it stick? By my estimations, Teddy could come out of this still with the lead, but no! Iwanio's got him. And here comes Cáceres. Oh, Zelenka. Coming alongside Cáceres, almost touching. Stays in 4th. But now the race is with Iwanio, and that was good racing. Lincoln, sum that up. That was a nice little period, wasn't it?
Oh, that was amazing to watch. These drivers are really talented, and they all know the size of their cars and exactly how close they can be to someone else.
You know, when this was announced that there would be a junior series, I understood it for a lot of reasons, but I'm really liking it now because this car just seemingly is one that once you get your head around it, you can have a lot of fun racing it and at close quarters, as we're seeing here. There's some good racecraft out here. I know my good buddy Scott Goodyear will be happy to see, given the morning we've had, such great racing and close racing and fair racing without any, so far anyway, any untoward action. They've all helped each other race well and given each other space, which is one of the big things he says in his driver briefings is, you know, you've got to give the other racer a chance. You can't just make the road your own.
Exactly.
You've got to race fairly, which is hard to do because you're trying to be aggressive. But at the same time, if you are too aggressive, then it's unfair to the other opponents, and you're both going to go off.
Yeah, that's right. And especially in open wheel single seaters like these, you have to show every driver respect.
Yeah.
No matter their pace, you always have to make sure that you're driving safe, because if something could happen, it's not going to be a great day for one of the drivers.
No, and it's an expensive sport, as we all know. Repairs are important and cost money. So if you get taken out for something you didn't do, that's a tough day at the office. Cash Felber makes his move on Dimitri Nolan. Again, side by side, down towards 4, but he's got the better line, has the number 1. And he should, well, I say that, the 5 keeps his foot in, and that's good work by Dimitri, because he'll hold that position now, and he does. So 5 minutes to go in this one. And now he's got the lead. Iwanio, his last lap, a 1:34.8, so he's up the game in that last lap, and you can see the gap yourself. And so he was just waiting for a bit of space, wasn't he? Because he's just put in the fastest lap.
And now that he has clean air, he's able to do exactly what he wants to do and able to make the car do exactly what he tells it to do.
Yeah, it's funny. You'd think when you were in a scrap, a bit like a peloton in cycling, you'd be able to all move forward together, but it's not often the case. Once you get into a battle, you slow each other down by changing lines and being defensive. And if you've got clean air, as you quite rightly described, you've got a chance of actually, getting in the groove, and it's more like a qualifying situation at that point.
Yeah, us drivers, we really like having clean air. So when we're battling out there, we try to make the pass as soon as possible,
right,
so we can pull away from them.
Well, that's exactly what's going on here. A nice little battle between Hayden Bowlesby and Brad Marchman of Australia. Another crosslink Kiwi entry up against the IGY6. And these two going at it for 5th place. 4 minutes to go. And by the time they come round, we'll be looking towards getting the white flag out. Back to the leaders. Been a good run for Maite Cáceres. She's been on the podium a couple of times already, not had the win, but not far away at all. 4th in the championship coming into this one. Likewise, Baker Zelenka's had several podiums himself, and has been very consistent throughout the season. So there's another little battle going to go all the way to the end here by the looks of it for 5th place. Good to see the crowd coming in now, filtering in. Now the weather has improved. And here we go, for a pass. Bowlesby can't quite get that done. Excuse me, say that. That's Brad Marchman. Bowlesby defending. Now he's got an opportunity. How much do you feel the draft? Because there is a draft created on these wings and slicks when you're right behind somebody, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. When we're driving in clean air, our head's getting pushed around by the wind, but the second we're up behind somebody, we can look around and relax our necks. We can just take a deep breath and say, okay, we know we're faster. We can get him in the next corner.
Yeah. So you'll often see the car behind just tuck himself in and try to take almost an identical line. It doesn't serve you in the corners here, but in a main straight, you can really get sucked into the back of the car and use that extra horsepower to just slingshot past. You've seen it a million times down the long straights. Not too many long straights, just the one here at Mid-Ohio, so that's why it's so important to get out of the keyhole. Back to the leaders. 2 minutes to go. We should see the white flag this time. Here they come out of the carousel. No, 2 more laps then. Keep it going. But now Cáceres under pressure, and she's lost out to Marcella, making a last-minute charge. Zelenka sort of playing a waiting game somewhat. Just knows that he only needs to get past these two, and he's right there on the podium.
That's why Zelenka is such a good driver. He's able to find the perfect opportunity to pass, and he's not afraid to wait for a long time to get that opportunity.
Patience is a rare attribute in motor racing. Very few have it.
Yeah, it's the great to do.
Yes, it does. You're exactly right. Here comes Marcella again. He's side by side with Maite Cáceres, and just got the outside line. If he can keep his foot in, he should get the overtake done, and he has. That's good driving. Zelenka looking maybe to get up the inside, but again, being patient, knows that the white flag is coming, and that's what is important to him. Just needs to be in the right place at the right time. But what he doesn't want to do is watch Teddy Marcella pull away from this group and go chase down the leader. And since he's been leading, Keke Juanio has built up a 1.5 second lead now over this group. Teddy looking very comfortable as he wrestles the wheel.
Very active on the wheel. That's crazy. For these conditions, that makes sense, though.
Yeah. Across the line again. The white flag is out. And therefore, there's 1 lap to go. Now, Bacon, what can you do? Like you said, we've been singing your praises, telling everybody you've been patient. Now's the time to pull the trigger. Try and get that podium. Hasn't gone away. And it's still Hayden Bowlesby who's got the advantage now. It's just toot and fro between these two. Brad Martin trying desperately to get past them. Now running out of chances. This is the last time down the back straight for these two, and he's got to make it count. That was good driving. Got good drive out of the keyhole. He'll try and come alongside and try and hold that inside line. He might change his mind. Here comes your leader. He's already through the 4-5-6 complex. Headed towards Thunder Hill for the last time.
In my opinion, the 4-5-6 is the hardest part of this track with all the elevation.
Yeah, it is. It's tricky, and there's so many different lines that you can get an advantage of. When you know, I always say, if you stick your nose up there, you never know what the other person's going to do. You just present yourself and say, right, are you going to turn in it on me, or are you going to let me go? Well, it's been a good run, KK Juanio, and we'll find out after the race what went wrong mid-race, because he dropped right back, and don't know whether it was self-inflicted or just had an intermittent problem. But either way, he takes the checkered flag, and KK Juanio takes another victory here in the JS F4 Series and Crosslink Kiwi. Getting a round of applause and some high fives as KK does the business. Nicely done. And that's the Anywhere Transport new T-Racing Honda of KK. Teddy Masella for Scudare Buell. And Abitab Supermatch for Maite Cáceres in third. Good result. She was in second and third, never led the race, but was very close. And will be very happy, I'm sure, with another podium. So my thanks to Lincoln Day. What time are you out, and what number are you? What's your social and all that kind of stuff? Don't worry about the timing. I'll tell everybody. Yeah. But where can we find you? LRAD_racing on Instagram.
That's my main social media that I use to post things about racing and just my daily life. And car number 54 with MLT Motorsports. They're a great team. I've known them for a very short time, but they really treat me as if I'm a part of each of their families. It's nice. A beautiful relationship that we have, and they're a great first team for me, and I hope that possibly I can continue with them in the coming years. Good for you. Well, we'll let you go and get prepared because your race is coming up soon. But thank you for joining us, and thank you for helping us and giving some insight into some of your mates out there. Enjoyed that. That was a good little race and had everything there. So my thanks to Lincoln Day. He'll be in action later today, and we've got plenty of single-seaters coming your way. We had to cancel the first race for the juniors because of the weather. So a race that had everything to and fro for sure. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of our race. Away we went, and conditions improving by the minute, and Teddy Masella, who had the early lead, KK Juanio behind him, then Maite Cáceres got second place, and then some really good wheel-to-wheel stuff. Juanio coming back through the field and doing a really good job, actually, of choosing his time and choosing his moment to get past, sometimes a little risky. There he goes past Zelenka. Maite Cáceres in a great battle with the 29 of KK Juanio. Once he got past, he then went in pursuit. That was a big moment for Teddy, and that was, I think, why he dropped off. Well done, though, to KK. Confirmation of the results. It is the Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport team. Juanio with the victory, and Teddy Masella with second place, and that's another good podium, having had a win yesterday for Scudare Buell. And Maite Cáceres for International Motorsports takes third, Bacon Zelenka fourth, Bowlesby fifth. Marshman, that battle came to a win for Bowlesby. Effectively, he holds on to fifth. Behind them, Jake Pollock seventh, Drew Such in eighth position, Jacob Lauter in ninth, and Dimitri Nolan for another Crosslink entry. And a little further, the brothers Felber from Akron, Ohio, so a home race for them, and Jensen 11th and 12th, and the Polish driver Rafael Wolitz is in 13th place. So that concludes our first race for these boys and girls today in the Ligier JS F4 Series. They'll have one more race later today, and my thanks once again to Lincoln Day, who will be in action in F4 very soon. We'll take a short break. We'll be back after this.
Hungry for SVRA action? Well, the best way to enjoy classic auto racing is with a delicious classic from Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Haggerty, we can... Haggerty, let's drive together.
Into that motor, that electric motor, without having that limitation. And the cool thing is that it's at the driver's...
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, where amazingly, the sun's out again. It's one of those days, folks. It's been a really topsy-turvy day. Starting at 7 this morning, we had a downpour that cancelled one of the JS F4 Series races because it was just too wet. But they're going to get a run right now, and they've already had one run today, so they're going to get a chance to race finally. Now, before we get underway, as you can see, the trucks are out on track, just basically sweeping the water away so that they can give them a fair chance of a decent start here before the next race, which is coming up very soon. But before we go there, seeing as we're talking about F4, we'd like you to meet one of our drivers from the championship. His name, Landan Matriano Lim, which is a combination of a Filipino name and a Chinese name. He'll, I'm sure, will explain. He's a former gymnast turned racing driver, so an interesting cat racing in the 739 team. Landan Matriano Lim.
Just improve throughout the year. I really want to be in the top 5, and if I can make it on the podiums this year, it would be wonderful, absolutely wonderful. My name is Landan Matriano Lim, and I'm car 73. So I actually just started with doing track days with my dad. We would take a Lotus Elise on track and just have some fun. And then I started competing in the club series just to see what it's like and everything. My competitive spirit really took over. And it was all during COVID, so it gave me a new passion to go for. And then I found out this is all I want to do. So the people in the club were just like, okay, wait, you've got a shot at this. You should really go for it. And I took it. So here I am now. Made it to Formula Regional Americas and ready to go. Last year, I ended the season on a definite high with the Omologato Perfectly Timed Pass Award. So I had the most successful overtakes in the season with 64. It's going amazing. I just did the F4 Oceania Championship in New Zealand, January, February, and we did that developmentally to catch me up to anything I might be behind on, and it was the perfect thing. It was absolutely what I needed. So I'm really looking forward to this F4 America season. I think we're ready to go, and my goal is definitely to be in the top 5 this year, so that's what we're pushing for. So the turbo is definitely a big difference. I mean, you just have so much more speed overall, and then the aero as well. This F4 car actually has working aero compared to the F4 car last year, so getting used to that's a lot of fun, no doubt about that. It's going great so far. We finished P6 in the last practice yesterday, so I'm really comfortable, and this is a home track for me. So super stoked. It's a little extra pressure, but I'm ready for it. I love everybody here. These are the people that got me into motorsport. So I couldn't be more thankful for them, and I want to give it back to them and give them a good show this weekend. Secret's not losing your focus for 1 second. You have to be on point, pinpoint, just ready for every next move, thinking 2 steps ahead, that way you're ready. Oh, it's absolutely huge. They help us a lot out on the test days, so that's a whole extra day we get to be in the car at the track before the race weekend. So that's really helpful for getting extra time in the car and getting to learn more. It's more chances to learn, which is the biggest thing. So with the mostly Filipino background for my family, it's really big for us, and I love our culture and everything we're about. So it feels good to be able to represent those as well here in America. So my great-grandfather was Chinese, and to get out of the war in China, he had a best friend who was Filipino. So he used his last name to get out of China, and shortly after, his best friend passed away. So he combined the 2 names, and that's how we got Matriano Lim. Doing everything I can to improve and prove that I have a place here in motorsport, even starting so late. And I guess I'm technically old for the crowd, being 22, but that's just even more reason to push hard right out the gate. So just improve throughout the year. I really want to be in the top 5, and if I can make it on the podiums this year, it would be wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I've met Landan and went down to New Zealand with him and his family. Great combination, and they really are. His sister's here taking photographs this weekend. Mum's here. Dad's in the background making the money to try and pay for all of it. But Landan, a great kid. And like I said, former gymnast. That wasn't mentioned in that, but he was a high school gymnast and trains a lot still, and it's helped his upper body strength while he races in these single formulas cars. Now, we've also got some other interesting drivers. We've still got a delay in our next race, which is the final race of the day. Thankfully, it's not raining, as you can see from this shot. But one of the female drivers we have racing with us this year, her name is, well, she's been around for a couple of years, actually. But Maite Cáceres from Uruguay is making her way here in the US of A. She's already got to the dizzy heights of International Formula One Academy racing, where she raced for a while. But she's back here in F4 believing that this is a better home for her to learn her skills. She's already put them to good use, had a great race last time out. But let's get a little more knowledge about one of our few female drivers making their way in this sport. From Uruguay, Maite Cáceres is our story from the past.
This is my year to prepare myself, get a lot of track time, get a lot of races. Started really good with P1 in both practices. There's always room to improve. It's a good step forward from what I have been doing. So yeah, I'm ready to keep pushing. Well, my inspiration was my brother, my father. My brother did at F1 test. He was a driver in Formula cars, and my dad is a rally driver. So I wanted to be like them. When I was 8 years old, I started to tell them, like, okay, maybe I should try racing because I love cars so much. But they didn't let me until I was 17 years old. So that was a lot of years of me fighting for what I wanted because they didn't want me to race because of the dangers of the sports. You know, they put me into tennis, piano, nothing to do with racing. When I was 17, I met Fernando Alonso, the F1 driver, and I told him, like, okay, I want to be a driver, I want to be like you. And he told me, work hard. It's just that, work hard. So that made a click on my mind to tell my parents, like, why my brother can do it and I cannot. So they give me the chance, and we are here. First, I did 1.5 years of karting back in Uruguay, in my hometown. I did a vice championship on my first karting championship, and then I started to step up into Formula cars, Formula 4 in Uruguay with some podiums. Then I went here for the F4 U.S. championship, this one, and then I jumped into F1 Academy, and we are here. Thanks to the F1 Academy, I'm still racing because last year I didn't have the chance to get the budget for doing a championship. So really the F1 Academy opened the door for me. It was a big jump for the little experience that I had to go to Europe with a high level that the other girls had, but it made me improve a lot. We'll see now that I'm P1 on practice, so definitely it worked. The F1 Academy, the girls only can do like 2 years of the championship. So I said, okay, I want to fight for the first places. So I need to make more experience, prepare myself for the second year. So yeah, this is my year to prepare myself, get a lot of track time, get a lot of races, and US is like my home also. I feel it like that. So it's a great way to prepare myself for the F1 Academy. Well, it's really fun. There's a lot of corners with different directions. It's really technical, NOLA, and I enjoy it very much being the first race weekend of the championship. Really is to carry momentum, you know. Momentum is a lot, and drive it nice. Momentum with a lot of softness and smoothness, let's say, is what you need. I'm hoping to get a podium at least. No, we have been working really hard with the team, and now is the objective. Or no, seriously, the good thing is to get a lot of points for the championship. That is the main goal for this, and keep pushing, improve myself lap by lap. Yeah, I don't know. They always make comments and they laugh about everything. So, but I have the support that I'm P1, so. Well, hopefully racing in one of the highest categories, Formula 1, IndyCar. That's my dream, really. I want to become a professional race car driver. That is my ultimate dream. When I was 8 years old, and I'm really grateful to be doing it right now because. Starting at 17 years old, this is not common. Usually guys and girls start with 6, 7 years old, so starting for me so late and being here, getting the chance, it's really a dream come true. So just I appreciate to be here, but I look for more.
And we'll have more stories from the paddock, as there she is in real life, getting out of the pit lane. Great story, Maite Cáceres. And when you watch a story like that, you instantly get a sense that, yeah, let's get behind what she's doing and let's follow her, because great story. Same with Landan Matriano Lim, just two great characters coming from different walks of life and all with different stories and approaches to coming to motor racing. But Maite Cáceres, obviously with her brother racing and her dad as a rally car driver, I don't think they expected her to turn to racing, but it's their fault because she had to watch them do it and said, I can do this too, and she's doing it, and she's doing it very well indeed. She had a great race last time out. I'm joined in the booth for this race by Connor Roberts, who's just been out on track in a very interesting race. He was toing and froing throughout most of your race, but tell me about it and tell me about what the conditions were for you.
Yeah, so the conditions were they were okay at the start, especially for the wet tires. It wasn't really optimal, but just we had to start on the wets because it was declared a wet race, and so just as it went through the race, it kept getting drier and drier, and then we really suffered at the very end with tire deg.
Because you were all on wets, yeah?
Yes, we all were, and so everybody was sliding around, and there was one puddle in turn 6 that had some oil mixed in with the water, and it was super slippery. That was really the only place on the track that had any water on it, and so it it really made it tricky to try to keep the tires cool, and at the end you kind of just had to just give up and try to keep your line just to go as fast as you can and just ignore what the tires are doing. But yeah, it was a good race. I had a couple of overtakes, but for the most part it was lonely. It's hard to pass on the tire when the tires are going dead.
No kidding. Well, tell us a little bit about your background before we get underway for this race. You've just, as you said, took part in that race, but what's your background? I know you're from Georgia, but how did you get into racing?
So my dad raced SCCA. He started in the mid-90s, and so he was very competitive in the Formula Mazda series and doing open-wheel cars in SCCA. And so it really just brought me to that. He brought me to the track a lot when I was very young, from 4 years old. And so it kind of just was ingrained in me from a very young age. I did some karting and just spending time at the racetrack. I loved the cars, I loved watching, and I loved just being around in the atmosphere that the track has. And so that's really what got me into it.
You're a tall fella. I don't know how tall, but tell us. It's definitely somebody's gone off in the distance there. We'll find out who that is. But a strange choice, single-seater racing, when it's known for being, tiny drivers. That's Drew Such that's gone off.
Yeah, so I'm 6'4", and it is kind of a hard thing. But I started club racing in SCCA at 14, so I was much shorter than I could fit in a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And so I started out in Formula Continental, and I did some closed wheel racing a couple of years after I started. And it just didn't have the same feel, and it wasn't as immediate. Everything is open and close to you, and you feel at one with the car. In the closed wheel racing, it seems a lot more to me like you're working the car instead of working with it.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of fell in love with the style of driving that the Formula cars can provide. And so that's just really why I've been pushing to do the Formula cars. And that's what led me to the F4 U.S. series with the new Ligier, is it has the capacity to fit taller drivers. I mean, I fit relatively comfortably, and for a driver my size, that's basically unheard of in any single-seater ladder car.
Yeah, no kidding. But will it lead you to, do you think, to leaving single-seaters as you progress and maybe turning to sports cars, which is a natural place for more taller drivers?
Yeah, I think it can, but the skills that you develop in the junior single-seater classes are
gold.
Undeniable for the quality that they provide. That's why the F2 champions have so many options to go sports car, IndyCar racing and stuff like that. It just provides you with a level of feel for the car that I don't think that you can quite get from doing the junior level closed wheel stuff. And so that's kind of what drove me to the single seaters. Even though I'm planning to go towards sports cars, the skills that you get from a single seater are second to none.
Now we're about to get underway on a standing start. Which do you prefer, rolling starts like karting or standing starts like we're about to see?
So I've never done a standing start.
Have you really not?
Yeah.
I love it.
So we had the new cars got a little bit of issues with how tall the first gear is, and so Scott Goodyear decided to do rolling starts for Road America and here.
Yeah.
And so I still have not done a rolling start, even though I've done 2 weekends.
There you go. Well, yellow flag's being waved, which means we have a caution and a problem of sorts. Not sure what that problem is yet. It could be that Drew Such, who was in the gravel, has
Teddy
not been
Musella
clear.
missed his box. And
That's the problem.
And
yeah,
she followed her. She followed him up.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so yeah, Maite Cáceres has followed him up because he's missed his box. So yeah, drama already. But we're looking at Kekai Juanio in pole position for this one. Fastest lap, man from Plant City, Florida. He's having a good run here at Mid-Ohio. So 2 drivers out of position for the start of this race, but they should be able to rectify that.
Yeah, they might have to take. They might take them on another pace lap.
Yeah, just to get them around there. Yeah. But we had a delay to the start of this one, which is how we were able to show you some of our features, which we were delighted to do so, because Stories from the Paddock is now going to become part of what we show you in our coverage, and we'll do more of these as we see fit, and hopefully get you to learn more about each and every one of our drivers. That's another reason why we get the likes of Connor here in commentary, because we want to learn about our young drivers and how they got to where they are, and also hopefully you inspire another 6'4" Pope was it Cole Kleck? Is it?
Yeah, Cole Kleck is
a high jumper.
Another.
Yeah.
Yep. He was pretty tall. He drove the FR Americas car.
That's right.
And then I hung around the USF paddock a little bit. Michael D'Orlando is 6'1".
Yes, he is.
So,
brother races as well?
Yes. A lot of those guys that have kind of been forced away because this first generation F4 car was so small that they'd been forced away to go and find other series that could more accommodate their height. I feel like a lot of the up-and-comers that are taller will be drawn to the new F4 series just because of the accommodations of the car and how well somebody, larger than a typical Formula car driver can fit in it.
Yeah. Well, we are doing exactly what they said, or you said they would do. Sunshine is out as they go down the back straight here at Mid-Ohio. Our final race of the day, the JS F4 Series. This effectively the older car without the halo and without the Ligier engine. It's got the Honda engine in the back. But these have put us in good stead. We've had a fair few seasons of great racing from this Formula 4 car, and it's a great learning car, isn't it?
Yeah, and from what I've heard, they say that the wings work better detached from the car. That's not totally true, but the level of downforce that these cars have are really minimal, so it allows for that close racing without any worry about aero wash or really tires falling off. And so it gains a lot of that wheel-to-wheel racing that, is so great to watch, and it provides a really good step between karts and cars, just because you don't have to have that faith in the downforce yet. It doesn't lose you too much time to not have complete faith in the downforce. You can kind of learn to build up to it.
What got your interest in the first place for motor racing?
Yeah, definitely my dad. Going to the track with him, but I watch every single F1 race, all the practice and stuff like that. And so really just
who's your go-to driver? Who's your favorite?
Max.
Yeah. Fair enough. There's no real argument on that.
Yeah, he is the class of the field, I feel like.
Yeah, totally. Annoyingly so at times, but you can't take anything away. The guy is brilliant.
Yeah, he's a machine for speed, really. It's pretty amazing the consistency that he has been able to produce over the past few years.
So here we go. Take two, so to speak, as we finally found the right spots to line up in. And as you can see, the 29 on the right, that's Kekai Juanio in pole position. Jake Pollock, Bacon Zelenka, and we've got one car in the pit lane. That's the car that should have been at the front, but is not. And away they go. Out go the lights, and away we go. And Jake Pollock gets a little slide, and that gives Kekai the perfect opportunity. Zelenka gets a good start in the number 45 green and white car and dives into second place early on, or does he? Because back comes Pollock. Cáceres looking for a way past Pollock on the inside. She's got a good line coming into the keyhole. She's going to get squeezed out though and drops down to 4. Good clean start though. Somebody going wide. Now, the long run down the back straight. This is a good place to get that slipstream, to get that downforce used. Trying to avoid the patches, but most of them on wets, as you can see, because it's still pretty damp out there. Right choice, do you think, Connor?
You know, it's another one of those situations where if the race has been declared wet, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
I feel like the line is definitely going to dry in the early stages of this race, and they're going to be fighting to get on those wet patches. As we see an attempted move into turn 6, there's still a big puddle down in there. So
yeah, that's where the standing water was there during the Trans Am race. So it's going to be a long white time before they clear that up. Teddy Masella making a move, and he was second in the championship coming into this weekend. And he'll try to make his way through. He's in 4th at the moment. Good start from Bacon Zelenka, though, on Crosslink Kiwi. Oh, and I say that, and also going off just as I start talking about it. Zelenka spins out, and so too someone behind him.
Zelenka got it back going straight, though. If he can get it restarted, he won't have to get pulled.
And it is Maite Cáceres, I think, that has gone off. Sadly, I mean, learned all about her. She's made a rare mistake. 20 minutes of this, we're under yellow, under a caution, because we're going to have to take her out of that gravel trap. But at the front, it's still the number 29, Keke Juanio of the Northeast Wear, or Anywhere Transport. New T Racing Honda.
Yeah, and we'll have to see a replay of that, but it looks like there was a attempted move up there into turn 11, and so there's no real telling, you know, what truly happened up there. It does stay wet on the outside of that turn as you come up through Thunder Valley into the braking zone. It does stay wet on that paint for quite a while. And so it could have just been a mistake on the brakes or, you know, a jump in the mirrors.
Well, Connor, let's take a look at a replay, and I'll look to your eagle eye here to see what you see and just call what you see. Here we go. There's Zelenka. Maite is 2 behind. Now here's Zelenka. Yeah, he just
so
went too
there
hot.
was just a river, a slight little bit of standing water up there, and just got in a little bit too hot in the mid corner, and you know, just couldn't save it. Once it kind of goes up over that crest, it really is almost impossible to get back.
Well, there you go, and we saw it brilliantly illustrated from high above. So the race continues, though. Juanio still leading, but under caution now. But a good start from Pollock. And coming into this weekend, Bacon Zelenka led the championship with 99 points. Teddy Masella was second. Kekai Juanio was in third. Maite Cáceres was in 4th position with 80 points. Then Parrish, Margeman, Pollock, Jake Pollock, who's right up there at the sharp end, was 7th in the championship. And the man who was in the booth, Walsh, was the Polish driver, was here just a few moments ago. And he's currently in 8th position, is Walsh, at the moment, as the yellow flags continue to wave. The Ginetta out on track, and a little bit of weaving from side to side to keep mechanical grip. This is a hard time for a driver because you're having to do quite a lot of work now.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, to be fair, in the conditions that they're at now, it looks pretty dry out. You know, I wouldn't want to be working those tires too much, because once you get those wet tires soaked with some heat down into the core, into the real core of the tire, it's hard to get it back. And so if you can keep them cool, but, you know, right in that fine operating window, then you can really make some places on the restart, and then everybody's tires fall off around you as well as yours.
Well, we're under caution here at Mid-Ohio. You're listening to Connor Roberts, who's giving us some insight into what's going on out there. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back from Mid-Ohio to resume this race.
The Road America Speed Tour returns to Road America June 28th through the 30th, featuring the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series, International GT, PSSA, FRP, and Optima Search for the Ultimate Street Car. Saturday, you can take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lab. You do not want to miss the Road America Speed Tour. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, where we're under caution. 15 minutes to go. The clock keeps ticking, and it's Juanio, Pollock, and Masella who lead the way. Certainly, Teddy Masella looking for another good result. Zelenka just spun out, and he's got some work to do. He's dropped down the order to 11th overall. We've lost Maite Cáceres, who went into the gravel as well. The Felber brothers are still out there. Thankfully, one 7th, the other 10th. They're from Akron, Ohio, twin brothers. And in the middle of the field, Nolan in 5th, Lauter in 6th place. And alongside me is Connor Roberts, who races F4 himself. And who do you know in the field that you would say is a mate?
I haven't really been around the paddock too much, but you know, every time I come to the track, all the drivers' meetings, I usually sit with the Crosslink Kiwi guys, so K Kai and Brad and Dimitri Nolan. Bacon Zelenka as well. But you know, I haven't really been around too much to really make good friends with some of the drivers, but it's you know, it's been a welcoming environment for sure. Just getting my feet wet in the paddock.
And I'm assuming that for you, you want to go eventually step up to FR?
Yeah, I would really like to. You know, I still haven't sat in a FR car to see if I will fit. But you know, the FR chassis is expiring, I think, in 26. So with the way that Ligier did the F422, I would guess that they would make the new FR car larger as well. So I might might have to do the F4 championship twice, just depending on the result, before I can really step up, just so that I can fit or be comfortable in the car.
You know, and I do really think, and I've been around young guys like you for a long time, watching them make their way through the junior ranks and up to their hopes of getting into Indy or Formula One. Make it, because it's so hard to get on a field of 20 cars, and I mean, even some of the great drivers that we've seen, you know, barely get a chance. Logan Sargent, it looks as though he's not going to hold on to that seat. The only American in Formula One right now. It was a struggle for Alexander Rossi because he had underpowered cars in Caterham. It's never an easy game, and it's a bit of a lottery because there's probably 200,000 qualified drivers wanting to fill those 20 seats.
Yeah, especially with the quality of the sports car racing that's going on now in the hypercar field. All of those drivers could definitely compete in Formula One, and most of the IndyCar field could as well, like, you know, the likes of Joseph Newgard and those guys that are really... Colton Herta and Alex Palou. A lot of those guys at the sharp end could really, really do some good work in F1. It's just, you know, a matter of getting the timing exactly right and finding that seat.
You know, you watch Formula E, and whether you like electric cars or not, it's like a who's who of guys that have either been in Formula One or have the potential to be in Formula One. People like Sam Bird and people like Lucas de Grassi, who've been there and done that. And so, yeah, there is homes now being created, but sports car racing, WEC has taken a lot of great drivers and made that championship so much more interesting. And as you say, grounding in single-seaters like this, it's great to see Drew got out of the kitty litter, but grounding in single-seaters and learning like this and learning the process of racing, I just think is great for any young woman or man who wants to take up this sport, because the disciplines you learn, the teamwork you have to learn, and the sense of responsibility both for your own safety but also those around you, it grows you up quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And, you know, as soon as you step in a race car, you know, there's definitely consequences that can be involved.
Sure.
And, you know, it just really, you know, you can say it centers your mind, and you just have to think about what you're doing and how you're going to do it. And, you know, how you're going to make your moves and picking your choices and stuff like that, and just being able to make those decisions. That's really what makes a good race car driver. And these open wheel series, because they have a little bit more risk involved with them, just with the open wheels and, you know, touching tires and cars going in the air, it teaches the younger drivers to be a little bit more respectful of the space.
And you've got a fantastic race director in Scott Goodyear, former Indy star in his time, the Canadian, and he does put a fairly hard hurt on those that don't do what you just said, and teaches them that, you know, and will penalize drivers that don't listen to what he's trying to tell them, because he's thinking not just of them, but all the others around them. It's not always about you, just because you may get hot-headed and want to take you know, action that you shouldn't do, or be more aggressive than you should be. You've got to think about those consequences.
Yeah, and even, you know, penalizing honest mistakes as well. It just teaches, you know, the young drivers to really work on their problem solving in a way, about how they're going to make the pass, when they're going to make the pass, and, you know, finding out when they can brake to make a pass and how to show and stuff like that. He is really instrumental in the development of these drivers.
Well, as you can see, the pace car is off, and that means we're going racing again. Joanio hits the fast pedal and goes for it, and that was a great restart. Pollock caught napping a little bit, but it's very hard at a restart to get it right. And up the inside already, Masella making a move for second place, can't quite do it. As they head out of turn 1 down towards the Mission Foods keyhole for the next lap. And again, Joanio gets away well indeed. No change in the order at the moment.
Yeah, he really did have a great restart. As we see some side-by-side action.
Yeah, Lauter in the 72 making a nice move on the 5 of Dimitri Nolan.
Yeah, and he, Musella's really tucked up in that draft, Musella's really tucked up in the draft there. Gonna show a little, gonna make a braking move inside of China Beach. That is a really difficult place to overtake, just because the way that the corner is built. But a really, really nice quality move there from both guys.
Yeah, really nice. And that is an obvious overtaking place. Luckily, the turn 6 is drying up now. See if Zelenka can make his way through again. He's dropped all the way down to 11.
Brad, is that? Yep.
Oh, onto the grass, keep your foot in. And he does.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a slide job by Majman. You know, just that turn is really hard to keep the car stable on the exit.
Yeah.
And, you know, no harm really intended, but, you know, a little bit done.
They'll look at it, yeah. Pollock having to take to the grass, but manages to keep the car straight, more importantly. As you say, the Australian Brad Marshman makes his way through. As we look back at Jake Lauter, who was in that battle at the keyhole earlier on. Now we're starting to see the form guide of this race with Kekai Joanio from Florida out front, as through goes the 5 again. And they were doing this last time out at this corner.
Yep, just reversed. Now they're on different sides of the corner.
Yeah, and now the long drag race down the back straight.
Yeah, he's going to tuck in. He's definitely going to try to show on the inside here if Dimitri doesn't
Dimitri's
defend.
kind of covering it a bit, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's good driving, though. And he does look to the inside, but I think...
Some braking done, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
That was another good move.
Yep.
Dimitri's going to try the over-under, but it's
not on yet.
Not on at Madness for sure.
Could be here, though. Giving him a wide gap into there, but luckily he wasn't that close. Zelenka coming back nicely. You can just see him there in the bright green. You can't miss him. Him and his dad have been working on these cars. Red flag. 7 minutes to go. Now, I'm not sure why there is a red flag, but that could put paid to our hopes of this race making it to the end. The clock continues to tick, but we've got a red flag out. And it's because another car has gone off. Now, can you see the number on that?
I cannot.
Could it be?
Was that? It looked like a 7 at the end. Was that?
Could
Wolowitz?
be Rafa Wolowitz. Yeah. Wallish, I mean. Yeah, he's in the. It's where Marta Cáceres went off.
Yeah, and it looks like he just understeered straight out there.
Yeah.
It's kind of an odd one. But
so back in we come.
Yeah, as those rain tires start to get hot and the track gets dry, the grip really goes away. The tread starts moving around, and it really is not fun to drive on the wet tires in the dry.
No, I can imagine. And you can see, if you look closely, those tires are starting to wear quite heavily.
Yeah, they'll get really grainy on the inside shoulder of it. You know, just little, like, grains of rice looking, you know, on the rubber. And they just roll over and flake off, and it really just takes the grip away.
I think you're right. I think that is Rafael Wallich. And there you see the graining, and there you see the tires. A nice shot there from pit cameraman George. Thank you, sir. As there is our leader, looking nice and calm. Also with the Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport team. Here, guy. And looks like Cáceres has come and joined at the back of this, so she did get back out.
Yep, I think that she got released the lap before they went green from the safety car, but she was half a lap or a lap behind when they let her go. And so, you know, if they get the race restarted, she really might have a chance to make up a couple of places to at least grab a couple of points from this week.
Yeah, you never say never in racing, do you? There's always points to be grabbed.
For sure.
You never know what's going to happen. So we are under a red flag situation while we drag one of the cars that got stuck in the gravel, probably, we think, due to the graining of the tires and just the lack of grip, as Brad Marshman has a quick chat with his engineer. Oh, and he has time to wave to us, the Aussie. G'day, mate. Yeah, it's been a good happy hunting ground for Aussie drivers.
Yeah, they are, especially in the F4 Series, you know, Nicholas Stoddy, Daniel Quimby, and Alex Crosby, they're all Australian, and they've done very...
Crosby is actually New Zealand. Yeah, I know that because I went down to New Zealand to watch him race in the FR Series recently, so yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right, the guys from down under are all good.
The guys from down under are very, very quick, and they drive with a little bit, you know, not really of an attitude, but they're quite forceful in their driving style, and it's fun to race against them because they just, you know, they'll throw some moves in there, but, you know, 9 times out of 10 it's always a respectful one, even if it's a late lunge.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because I've been kind of talking about, especially Kiwi Motorsport, the amount of drivers that they've managed to create in the last decade or so. All the way back, I remember doing commentary like this with Earl Bamber as he was starting off in F4. He was doing Formula BMW at the time, but he would come and commentate with me. And now look at him, you know, running his own team and actually giving young stars like Callum Hedge an opportunity. The tyres not looking too happy, are they? They look as though they're pretty worn. As we look at Lauter's car, Jacob Lauter from IGY6.
Yeah, those
Lauter
tires.
Associates. It's always good to have an attorney on board.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the total problem with the, you know, declaring the race wet. I mean, you know, it makes sense and it's good to be on the safe side, but to take the gamble out of it, you know, somebody could have gambled on the dry tires at the very start, and then, you know, they would have been running away with it.
Yeah, they would. Well, we had a situation on our Trans Am race earlier in the day where our current champion came in straight after the pace car. In fact, followed the pace car into the pit lane and had to wait while the pace car went down the pit lane to get his tyres changed. And in that time, the heavens opened, and so Chris Dyson made a great move and changed his race and was back in the lead within a couple of laps of getting back out there on wet tyres while everybody else was stuck kind of on the slick tyres. So it can make a huge difference to your race and also strategy-wise on what you choose to do.
Yeah, and once you do those flying laps and the pack, you know, it's all packed up and everything, and everybody's going at full race pace, and there's some heat in the tires. You know, it's really hard in a series like this with the races the length they are to make anything out of a pit stop. Even if you're 2 seconds a lap faster, it's hard to regain that time that you would lose, especially with, you know, a pit crew limited to 2 or 3 over the wall. So it kind of just makes it difficult to take any gambles, you know.
Are you one of these drivers that believes, I mean, I know you're only starting out, but do you believe that, you know, any seat time that you can get, so would you try different series and different weekends when you're not doing this series to try and jump in a car?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, seat time is, you know, invaluable, and, you know, the more of it you got, the better you're going to be. You know, every single time you go out, you learn something. Even if it's very, very small, it might be just, you know, the smallest of thing, how you break into that one corner on the one track, or deal with the elevation change. Any of that experience is invaluable, especially when it comes to learning new tracks and you know, transferring knowledge to other cars, because you already have some experience of using what you've learned in other cars, you know, to the car that you're currently driving.
So we're out and about, and looks as though we've got that car out of the way, and I'm pretty sure it was the 27. And they've cleared him out of the gravel, and so we're back out on track, but the clock was still ticking. Well, the clock was still ticking, but I don't think we're going to get a couple of laps in at best, but it's going to be an interesting finish to this one. 10 minutes on the timing for the overall race left, which is good, because that gives us at least a few laps to get some racing done.
Yeah, a 10-minute sprint to the end it'll definitely be interesting, and now that the field is going to be packed up again under the safety car for the restart, you know, you got to watch out for a Bacon Zelenka to really start making some moves up the field.
Interesting. Look at how he's taking a different line on the very wet part of the track. That's a smart move by Bacon.
Yeah, cooling those tires down. And I saw Kai under the first safety car period, he actually was dropping wheels in the grass to get
I noticed
some water
that.
on.
I wonder why he was doing that. Just wanted to try and put some water on the grass.
Yeah, so when the track is really, you know, dry and there's not some standing water, it doesn't really make a difference if you drive over a slightly wet patch. But if you can get on the grass safely under the safety car period, you know, you can really pick some water up, and
that's all within
cool
the rules.
those tires
no
down.
problem. Yeah, smart move. So we're about to finish this one off. It's going to be a 10-minute sprint, so to speak, or 3 or 4 laps of hard, fast racing. And now Kekai has to do it all again. And he's also got one of the hot shoes of the series, Teddy Masella, right behind him. And that is going to be tough to defend against. But the man from Orlando, Florida, Teddy Masella for Scuderia Buell, in the 25, all red car. It's had a busy and good weekend so far. Or can Brad Marshman, the Australian, do something from third? Jake Pollock is still in the hunt, having gone up and down. This pace car is off. We're racing again. Out of the carousel they come. And the clock starts ticking down. 9.5 minutes to go, just over.
Yeah, not as good of a restart from Kekai that time. Oh, Bacon's wing is collapsed.
That's game over, surely. Ooh, and a big moment for the 72. Jacob Lauter, well, he might need a lawyer after that. He did go a little wide. He's got some dirt on his tires. He's going to have to be careful. Through goes the 7. Jake Pollock making up a position. He's come alive as Jake. That's good news.
Yeah, and he can even look at, getting by Musella. I can't quite tell. So Brad got back by him. I think Brad's in the draft of Teddy, so they're going to be side by side, it looks like, into the braking of China Beach.
Yeah, here we go. Into turn 4 they go.
Late on the brakes for Brad.
Oh, go on. This could end in tears, but it just gets avoided by both of them. Good driving.
That was a really, really deep press of the brakes from Brad.
Yeah, no kidding. Got away with it. We'll keep an eye on Cáceres, see if she can get up and, as you say, into the points and get something out of this that means something. And we have such a bright weekend. Zelenka, we both noticed it at the same time. I hadn't noticed it from above, but he's got a broken rear wing, and that can't be easy to race. I mean, all the downforce from the back is just everywhere. Now you'll see it in a moment.
Yeah, it looks like it's just come off the end plate on the left-hand side of the car. Oh, some
Pollock
bumping.
gives a little bit of a nudge there. He's trying desperately. And now he's got to line himself up for a pass, hopefully, at turn 1. But he may not be close enough this time.
The gap up front is closed.
Musella is very close in second place. closer than he's been before. Heading towards the keyhole. They're all taking wide lines. And now you can see Zelenka's broken car quite clearly. Can't be helping him.
Kekai having to go a little bit defensive into the keyhole. You know, just because Musella's so close on his gearbox, he just has to take those defensive lines, and that's going to slow him down.
How badly do you think you'd feel that as we go under yellow again? I'm talking about Zelenka with that rear wing. Will you really feel it?
You got to.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, you can feel, especially when you're in tune with the car, like one of the top drivers is in any series, you know, the more used to the car you are. But like, you can feel the slightest little things. Yeah. Like, you'd be surprised how small, like wheel weight's falling off.
Yeah.
Like, you can feel the little vibration in the rear when if you lose some wheel weights. And so, yeah, he's definitely got he can probably see it in the mirror and definitely feel it in the car.
And what you're describing, the little tiny weights that you kind of balance the car with, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, so I had a situation at one of my club races where it was hot out, kind of like it was yesterday, and the tape, the adhesive had melted with the brake, and it had fallen off, and I could feel it vibrating in the back. So
that's not good fun at all.
Yeah, hopefully they get to take a. Nope, that's the Checkered.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the Checkered. Yeah, they've decided to call it, and that means there are some very happy folk and then some very disappointed folk. But the 72 of Jacob Lauder is obviously well happy with the result. A 5th overall. Jake Pollock will take 4th. Brad Marshman, the Aussie, in 3rd place. Teddy Musella will take 2nd, and Kekai Hoanio gets the win. There he is.
Yeah, a little bit of a disappointing race, but I mean, there were definitely some good moves. I mean, Kekai's got to feel really good about it. His first restart that they had was absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And the move by Brad into China Beach, you know, he's got to feel good about that one too. That was a true send.
Well, you've been listening to Connor Roberts. Tell us where we can find you on social and your car number and so on.
Yeah, so my Instagram is CA Roberts46. That's pretty much my handle on any of the social medias. I'm car number 46, and I'm racing pretty much strictly the F4 U.S. Championship this year. I might do some club races just to keep up on the wheel, but pretty much all that I have slated for the year is the F4 Championship.
All right, we'll be watching. So then, an intriguing race, and something that had everything, with lots of stoppages, lots of distractions, wet weather impending, and wet weather tyres used, and starting to fade off. So they decided, from safety point of view, enough is enough. Let's take a look at the highlights then of KK's latest win. So we got underway. It was still damp and wet patches out there, and Pollock got away well, but Zelenka doing some grass tracking. Likewise, Maite Cáceres going off. Zelenka spinning it round and in the process breaking his wing. Good move up the inside by the 25 of Teddy Musella. Then another off, this time Pollock going wide. Good battle here between these two, 72 and 5. They went at it. That's Jacob Lauder. And you can see the delight he had after that run by Dimitri Nolan. But in the end, Kekai Hoanio takes the win. Hoanio, I'm going to get it right before the end of the day. Confirmation, Kekai Hoanio then takes the Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport win ahead of Teddy Musella of Scuderi Buell. Brad Marshman takes a podium. Well pleased with that, I'm sure. Jake Pollock takes 4th. Jacob Lauder takes 5th. Zelenka in 6th place despite having the broken car. Drew Such 7th, Felber Roman, that is, in 8th, Hayden Bolsby 9th, and Cash Felber in 10th. Further down, Rafael Wallish was one of the guys that did go out. Likewise, Dimitri Nolan and Maite Cáceres, as you saw, did get back out on track, but in the end finished 13th overall. So then, my thanks to Connor Roberts. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Best of luck for the rest of the season. We'll be watching, and I'll see you at Coda for sure.
Yep.
So looking forward to that. I bet you're excited about going there.
Yeah, big track. That's the only track on the schedule that I'd been to before. So it's going to be interesting how the competition stacks up.
All right. Well, I thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed our live feed. A real smorgasbord of different kinds of racing, from single-seaters to Trans Am, the muscle cars, and of course SVRA, all part of the Speed Tour, which next week heads to Road America. So we're staying up in the area and going to another iconic track. Our thanks for you to tune in. Our thanks to Greenlight Television for bringing us all the pictures. That's it for this week. The sun is going down, but it's been an interesting weekend of weather, that's for sure, here at Mid-Ohio, but some great racing amongst all of it. My thanks to the organisers for putting up with all the weather. I'm Jonathan Green. Until next time, goodbye for now.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Haggerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, offer less than a set of race tires. Haggerty, let's drive together.